Good afternoon, wee unicorns. I said I would make a film answering some of the questions that you had about going back to school. So here we go. Thank you very much for sending your questions in on the Microsoft form, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. So, first question is from Lyra, and Lyra, you asked, what will it be like to be back at school? Well, difficult question because we're still waiting on the Scottish Government and Edinburgh City Council giving us some of the detail about how they want us to go back to school. But my guess at the moment is that we will not be going back to school in full classes. I think in England and Denmark and France and Belgium and other countries, they've already gone back to school and they're going back in smaller groups so that we can be socially distanced from each other and not be passing on any virus that we might have to each other. So I think we'll be back in small groups. It might be that you're in school some days but not all days because we're in small groups and we don't have space for everybody to be in school at the same time. Another thing that might be different is that we might have to have slightly different starting times and finishing times so that we're not all bunching together at the school gate. I think we'll need to have a one-way system in school so that where we've got corridors that are not 2 metres wide, we're not having to pass each other, we're having to go in a one-way system. Some of you might have seen supermarkets doing that on the television news where you can only go one way up and down the aisle. We might have to do some things like that in school. And maybe we'll have to take a lot of furniture out of our classrooms to make more space. And we might have to pack away things like soft bean bags and things that are more difficult to clean just for the time being. And then when the virus goes away, we can bring these things back into our classrooms. And hopefully that won't be too long away into the future. So next question is from Malcolm. Will I have to stay 2 metres away from my teacher and friends? Yes, you will have to stay 2 metres away until the public health advice changes. So at the moment the rule is still 2 metres and we have to stick to that to stop the spread of the virus. But again, that will change at some point in the future and we won't have to stick to these really strict rules at some point in the future, but we don't know when that is yet. Lucian, you asked how is social distancing going to work when we go back to school? So again, that's a bit like Lyra's question. There will only be so many people allowed in each room. In the lunch hall, we'll have to be spread out so that we're more than 2 metres apart. In the playground, we'll have to remember to be 2 metres apart, and we might have to have slightly different starting and finishing times so that not everybody's arriving at school at the same time and creating big crowds. I know that there's also been some discussion in the community council and with our local councillors about problems like the pavements being quite narrow, and can we maybe use cones to use part of the road for walking on. So things like that could happen too. We just have to wait and see. We don't know that yet. Cara, your question was about social distancing while getting to school. You said that you have to walk up a road that can be quite busy with very narrow pavements, and how will people be able to stay 2 metres apart? So again, I think Edinburgh City Council is looking at coning off parts of the road so that people can walk on the road safely and traffic isn't using that part of the road. You might have seen that on television news in other countries. They've shut off entire roads and they've used cones to separate traffic and allow more of the road to be used for walking on. So I think these are being discussed right now. Alice, you asked, will we see our old teacher for at least one day? Will our desks be 2 metres apart and only one person at each desk? And can we play close together like normal? So I'll take each part of your question in turn. Will we see our old teacher for at least one day? Yes, we will try really hard to give everybody time with their old teacher to finish the year properly and say goodbye. That's really important for primary sevens who are moving on to high school. We need to make sure that primary sevens get a proper ending to primary school. And even if that's when you're in first year, we need to have you back and make a proper ending. And I'm sure parents and our school team can work together to make a special ending for primary 7s. But I know it's also important for everybody to finish their year properly. So even if that's next year when you're supposed to be in your new year, we will do everything we can to give you some time with your old teacher to have a proper cheerio and a proper end to your year. You asked as well about desks being 2 metres apart. Yes, they will have to be, and yes, there will be one person at each of those desks. And can we play close together like normal? Not at the moment. It's really hard. I know that we all want to get back to being normal. We all want to be able to give our friends hugs again and all that stuff, but we're not going to be able to do that until the public health experts tell us that it's safe to do that again. Okay. Alice, you also asked, and somebody else who didn't leave their name also asked, if classes are going to be small groups, can we choose which friends to be in the small classes? We'll certainly give you a chance to tell us who you would like to be with. I think that's really, really important that you can come and see your friends while you're in school. And it might also be the case that children from the same family have to be in the same group. We don't know that yet. We're still waiting on the Scottish Government and the City Council working out all the details and telling us how they want us to do this safely. But yes, I would really want to give every child a chance to tell us who they would want to be with in their groupings when they come back to school. Fergus, you asked us, will we still be able to do our swimming lessons? I don't know the answer to that actually. I'll need to find that out. So I'm going to try and find that out and I'll get back to everybody on that. I think there's going to be quite a lot of things that we want to catch up on. So bikeability, cycle training, skiing, swimming, school excursions, the primary 5 residential to Broomlea and the primary 7 residential to Benmore. There's going to be a lot of things that we're going to have to try and catch up on because I know you'll be disappointed if we don't do them. So we'll do our best to do as many of the things that we've had to miss as we can. Somebody asked, if we don't go back before the summer, can we have a day to say goodbye before we move on to our new classes and teachers? Yes, we'll do our best to make that happen. Sorry, I don't know who that was. It didn't leave your name. Anyway, that's all the questions so far, but if you've got more questions, then go to the form on Microsoft Forms. It was in the newsletter, and I'll put it in the newsletter again so that your parents can have that link if you want to go on and ask me a question. We're all really missing you, and we're planning really, really hard to get back to school when it's safe to do so, and we've already started on that planning, and we're beginning to talk quite a lot about what we need to do to make school safe for everybody coming back. I've been in hub school quite a lot, and so have lots of your teachers and PSAs, so we've already seen quite a lot of the things that we need to do to make our school safe, because hub school has the same things in place. So we're lucky that we've seen hub school working, and we know a lot of the things already need to be done in a certain way. So we're looking forward to seeing you. Keep going with your home learning. Your teachers are telling me you're doing an absolutely amazing job, and we know that that's really hard to keep motivated and keep doing it. And we know it's really hard for your parents because they've got lots of other things they need to do too. But I know you're doing an amazing job with your home learning. Some of you are doing lots and lots of home learning, and some of you are doing little bits of home learning, and that's all fine. Every family is different, and everybody needs to just do what they can. And I don't want anybody worrying about falling behind or not getting as much done as everybody else, because we will sort that out when we get back to school. Our teachers are really, really good at teaching, and they're really good at assessing and finding out what it is you don't know yet and what you need to learn next. So we will get all of that sorted out when we get back to school. Anyway, that's all for tonight, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all when we get back to school. Cheerio for now.